Hello once again, this is Sir Alvin and kayo ng tip kung paano natin ipipresent ang topic dun sa partition lang, a part of the lesson under structure and function of cells. Paano natin ituturo yon gamit ang 7 E's na yun ang ginagamit natin in having the lesson, yung 7 E's natin na format. So ngayon, i-continue natin yung topic natin about the structure and function of cells. This is day 3, pangatlong araw ito at ito ay continuation lamang. The competency of this topic is that to explain how cells carry out functions required for life. What was modified is that about the specific learning outcomes of the day, because as what I have made mention previously, na bawat araw kinakailangan meron tayong specific learning objectives na attainable only for that day. At ngayon, our learning objectives are to enumerate structures unique to plant cells and animal cells. Since our students were able to, based from our discussion, were able to classify plant cells and animal cells belong to eukaryotic cell. And we are expecting from the students to construct or draw a typical cell. Again, a review is very much important. It is because the 7 E's is anchored 9 events of learning according to Robert Gagne, the gaining of attention, and review is very much important since we are utilizing in science the inquiry-based approach. Game is very much important. There are so many research articles, published research that gamification plays a vital role on the engagement of our students in order for them to be well interested in our topic discussed. As part of the structure and function of cells topic, the game factor Bluff. So we must creative. Just like think of some of yung tinatawag natin na napapanahon types of games na we can connect that in our game na pwede natin magamit just for the students to better understand what we are trying to discuss. Factor Bluff, you know the mechanics of the game. So if the statement is stating a factual information, of course it's a fact, but if it's not, it's a bluff. Just like for this one, mitochondrion is responsible for the production of energy. Is it a fact or bluff? It's a fact. As a teacher, right after knowing that it's a fact, pwede na natin ising it, we can add on some of the glimpse of information what is a mitochondrion. Because mitochondrion considered as the powerhouse of the cell, meaning to say it provides or it gives energy to the entirety of the cell. Next, centriole sort and deliver protein. Is it a fact or bluff? Okay, it's a bluff. It's because what deliver proteins are the Golgi apparatus or the Golgi complex. Centriole, it functions during cell division. In the cell division process, it comprises the microtubules. Vacuoles contain subunits made of RNA and is responsible for protein synthesis. Do you think it's a fact or bluff? It's a bluff because we have to emphasize to the students the term protein synthesis. That protein synthesis takes place in the ribosome. That's why we have the RNA, ribonucleic acid. Peroxisome is responsible for digesting the fatty acid. Is it a fact or bluff? It's a fact. It composed of the digestive enzymes responsible for, according to some of the scientists, it is responsible for the so-called the programmed cell death, the apoptosis. Eukaryotic cell is having true nucleus and membrane-bound organelles. Is it a fact or bluff? It's a fact. Eukaryotic cells from the word EU meaning true karyon or karyotics and bounded organelles, the so-called multicellularity and compartmentalization. Euglena, which is classified under Protista, is a prokaryotic cell. Fact or bluff? It's a bluff because Protista or the protist, animal-like and plant-like protist, since Euglena is a plant-like protist, it's a unicellular single cell, but it belongs to eukaryotic cell because still it is membrane-bounded organelles. Eubacteria and bacteria are prokaryotic cell. A dog contains chloroplast. A fact or bluff? It's a bluff because let's emphasize to the students that chloroplast, it is only present in plants and a dog does not contain chloroplast, and chloroplast is responsible for the food making process in the so-called photosynthesis. Plants or plant-like protist is responsible for the photosynthetic activity or photosynthesis containing the chloroplast. Pose questions right after game. How do plant cell and animal cell differ? So we encourage ambiguous answers about this, but make sure, be certain and be very mindful being a teacher regarding on what are the answers of our students on what is really the difference between plant cell and animal cell? Might be some of their answers. Plant cell or means situated in one area. There is an absence in locomotion. Animals can move, but we are looking into deeper understanding on what is really the difference between the plant cell and animal cell in terms of the cell component that there is and there are presence in absence of cell structure or cell organ. The next part is the other game. I love the game Hot Seat. This game is very much exciting, especially when we are allowed to conduct face-to-face class. It's because Hot Seat is an engaging one. It's because prior to your discussion the next day, you prepared already what are the things that you would want to put under the student's chair. So this activity, just like for example, gusto natin ipa-classify ang different organelles, whether a plant cell or an animal cell. Prior to your discussion, kailangan na i-prepare na natin yung mga words, meta strips na ilagay na natin sa ilalim ng upuan ng mga bata at kinakailangan walang makakita sa atin pag inihahanda natin ito. Okay, you're in the hot seat. Ang ginawa ko dito is that I prepared terms about different organelles that's present in plant cell and animal cell. Dinikit ko sa ilalim ng upuan. The next day, in discussing the topic, at pwede natin sabihin sa mga bata para mas engage sila, mas enjoy sila, yung tinatawag na feeling lack sa showtime. By that, madali nila maintindihan. Nakabunot siya ng chloroplast na term, nakalagay sa ilalim ng upuan niya. Then, hindi niya alam that student were able to classify under animal cell. Right after that, correct yan. For sure, matatandaan at matatandaan ng estudyante yan. It is because the more they are engaged, they learned a certain concept or a certain topics in the subject. Another activity, this is under explore part. The title is that unique from each. This part, catering the learning objective, they're going to construct or draw a typical cell, enumerate structures unique to plant cells and animal cells. Of course, as what I have made mention in our previous session, nasabi ko na this is a computer-based instruction. In this activity, the students will be able to learn the different types of cells which is unique from each other and get to draw their own type of cell. They're going to visit this site to click on the introduction part and continue on by clicking the arrows. Basically, meron ako nitong answer sheet. If you'd like to have the copy of my worksheet, just comment down below. The most important thing in providing a worksheet, kinakailangan pag nagbibigay tayo ng worksheet or activity sheet, there would always be a guide questions para alam ng estudyante. Just like this one, what is a cell wall? Why is it that chloroplast is important? In what cell does it belong? How does centriole perform its functions? And why does lysosome is called to be a suicide bug? Then after that, if we are in our face-to-face class, after the activity, there would always the group presentation. This is under explain part. It's not the teacher who will explain the activity, but it's the students. The teacher's role now is that we check. While rechecking the output of the students, what I did during the conduct of my thesis is that I provided them with at least the 1/4 Manila paper is just to perform the activity and for them to present at least 1 to 3 groups you assigned on that day. If time would permit, mas maganda na lahat nakapag-present. These are the organelles found only in animal cells and plant cells. Meron tayo centriole, lysosomal, the plasmodesmata. 3 of these organelles, the cell wall, plasmodesmata, the chloroplast, can be found only in plant cell. However, the lysosome and the centriole can be found in animal cell. Isa-isayin natin. When we are referring to a centriole, this is a cylinder-shaped organelle made up of microtubules arranged in a circle. Let's emphasize that there are 9 groups of microtubules. They help the cell to divide during mitosis and meiosis. So pwede natin pahulaan sa mga bata. Kanyari, we presented the definition kasi na-present naman natin yung 5 organelles that can only be found in animals and plant cells, just like this one. This membrane-bound organelle is basically a specialized vesicle that contains a variety of enzymes. So pwede nilang maisip, since na-present na natin yung centriole, so 4 na lang. Alin kaya doon? Having presented that, the students are well engaged. So this is, it makes up the rigidity of the cell. It's a cell wall. Most of the complex sugar classified as a structural framework, the cellulose. This organelle is made up of outer and inner. It's a double membrane. Tatandaan natin. Emphasize, let's inculcate to the minds of our students, the chloroplast is a double membrane. It contains the chlorophyll, a light-absorbing molecule that plays an important role in photosynthesis. You have the outer membrane, you have the outer membrane, you have the inner membrane, you have the thylakoid, the stack of that one pile. Ito, ibig sabihin, if we're going to group or we're going to pile up the one disc, tinatawag natin itong grana. This is grana. And grana plural, granum for singular. Okay. Small tubes, of course, these are the plasmodesmata serving as the channel for communication between cell to cell. Yan, channel that allows cell-to-cell communication present in the plant cell. Okay. Right after that, of course, you do your evaluation for you to reflect. Ask your students, how did you do? Evaluation can be in any form. It's the discretion of the teacher. Would it be in a form of paper and pencil test or demonstration, an illustration? It's up for the teacher. But in this case, I have my suggested evaluation. Still, the students will visit the same link provided in the first activity. Then, a simulation there, an activity there, wherein they're going to construct their very own type of cell by clicking construct cell. The teacher can assign depending on what type of students would want to construct. Then after that, we can require that they're going to include briefly the function of the labeled organelles, especially if our activity requires the students to supplant or to supply. There would always be the grading rubric. Okay, so in this case, the criteria includes accuracy, completeness, effort, and promptness. So you better explain the rubrics for the rubric to the students for them to be guided on what are the things that they are going to accomplish. That ends my presentation for this session. Thank you for watching.